Welcome back, Knuckleheads. I'm Lupine Fiasco, and this is your daily FaB gameplay. For anyone who's new to the channel, welcome. What we do here is review replays of games that I played on the Talishar client days or weeks ago, after enough time has passed that I lose my bias and can more objectively judge the quality of my play. I'll talk through turn cycles and give my thoughts on the line I would take now, compared to the line I took then at the time of recording. We either learn from my mistakes or reinforce good play patterns with the overall goal of tightening and optimizing our gameplay in the future to take down paper events like the ongoing ProQuest Season 5 and, most importantly, walk away with that shiny cardboard. If you would like to check out the list I'm playing here or try it for yourself on Talishar, there is a FaB deck link available in the video description below. While they're down there, if you have not already done so, please consider subscribing to my channel. A YouTube subscription is the best free way to support me and to make sure that you see daily FaB gameplay in your video feed 5 days a week. The best paid way to support me is through Patreon, and a Patreon link is also in the video description. A Patreon subscription will get you access to the DFG Discord and shiny cardboard Talishar card back. At higher tiers, your name will appear in every DFG video. You'll get bonus DFG content every week. There are even more benefits coming down the pipeline. Daily FaB gameplay will always be free 5 days a week, so for those who can afford to patronize me, I truly appreciate it. Now, let's talk about our sideboard and about our game plan. I sincerely hope that everyone had a fun and successful ProQuest Week 3. My tournament report will be coming tomorrow because I recorded this video before I played in the event. I can only hope that I'm bringing you tales of success and glory and shiny cardboard, but we'll all find out tomorrow how exactly my weekend went. For now, we are going to see how this game goes. We've queued into Victor. We won the die roll, and we will be choosing to go second. That will hopefully allow us to block whatever damage Victor may throw our way. We can potentially catch him with a clunky hand that has Test of Strength or Trounce that he just has to pitch away to the bottom of his deck, or risk taking a potential intellect penalty depending on what we do. At the very least, we don't want to be the first one to attack and give him the potential for turn 0 trounce value. Bringing in our Victor sideboard means that we are keeping our equipment loadout exactly the same. Guardian doesn't deal arcane damage, so we don't need Arcane Barrier or Spell Void. We are leaving our clashes in the sideboard. Kayo theoretically has about a 40% chance to win a clash against Victor. The same Victor has about a 40% chance to win a clash against Kayo. My experience with Agility and Guardian is that they can use it very well. They may end up tanking some damage, but if that means they get to throw Spinal Crush Anathos or E-Strike for 7 Spinal Crush, it can get very bad for us very quickly. So even though we use Agility very well, and we are statistically not likely to win, but not as likely to lose, I do choose to leave it in the sideboard. My list has changed a bit since this game was recorded, but we are putting in finishers. Late game finishers. So in this game we are using Massacre. In the current iteration of my list, it is red Smash Instinct. But the purpose of the card is the same. It is a card that we can pitch to the bottom of our deck to find with Bloodrush Bellow, or even just discarding an Agile windup the turn prior to lead with Intimidate Go Again, to pull cards out of Victor's hand so that he cannot defend what will hopefully be lethal damage. The only card besides Clash that we're leaving in the sideboard that we should talk about is Humble. Victor just isn't worth humbling. The hero does have relevant text, but it isn't anything that Humble can really do anything about. If we do throw Humble at Victor, he'll just block, and if he doesn't block, then it is unlikely that he's getting clash value on his turn as opposed to ours. So Humble in this matchup really is just a 2 for 6 that isn't a brute attack and blocks 2. Our game plan is looking to set up big Blood Rush Bellow turns. We need to go very tall over the top of Victor's defense. A 2-chain Blood Rush is not going to get the job done most of the time. Victor blocks exceptionally well. He has an excellent equipment loadout. Test of Strength is in the deck. Trounce gets good value. Aside from being a 0 for 4 and a 0 for 3, both of those cards have the potential to draw an extra card for Victor that he can use on defense. So if we do want to push damage through, we need to make sure that we are hitting those 3-chain Blood Rush turns. We aren't necessarily looking to pitch stack. Victor games can go long, but they don't necessarily do so. A lot of Victors are running Pummel against us as a way to speed up the game. They aren't trying to fatigue us. So if you do set up this excellent Blood Rush pitch stack, you may not reach it before Victor can get you with an overpowered Golden Sun. So it doesn't mean to just fire them off. You do want to set them up, but you may not have the time to reach your second cycle. For Victor's plan, he is just lobbing damage at us. Some of it can be disruptive, but for the most part, he just wants to play the value game. So he's going to block a lot. He's going to win clashes. He is trying to draw cards based on making gold from Test of Strength, Trounce, and Golden Sun, and throw it at our face and try to leverage the fact that a lot of our cards don't block. So that is a snapshot of the matchup. Let's submit deck and see how this all shakes out. Not the hand we're looking to see if we are going second. We are really hoping that Victor just uses tech plating and passes. We can block 3, sure, but outside of that, not a good blocking hand. So we do catch a lucky break that Victor does just create a Seismic Surge and passes. We are going to open with a Wild Ride. Some consideration for pitching one of these yellow Wild Rides to make sure it gets to the bottom of our deck. But hopefully we would have just discarded a 6, given this Wild Ride go again, pitched a Wild Ride to Claw, and then arsenaled the second yellow Wild Ride. Instead, we discard a Blood Rush Bellow. That's fine. We don't need that card, right? It doesn't even attack. So Victor is just going to block out this Wild Ride. We are going to arsenal one of the other 2. And hope to put something together going forward. Command and Conquer for 6. Victor is not floating resources to indicate that this card in Arsenal is a pummel. We just block 6 here with both of our blues. On our turn, I like E-Strike for 7, bottoming this Wild Ride. I don't think it is worth blocking with a blue and an E-Strike than playing a Wild Ride. We would only get 6 points of value instead of 7. Yeah, we bank 1 for the next turn, but I think E-Strike for 7 is fine, and we just keep this Wild Ride in Arsenal. A lucky Test of Strength for us. We do win this clash. Victor has not blocked with his gold shield, so it would be a huge loss of value for him to break it to re-roll that clash. We don't draw a card from the gold. We benefit a lot less from it than Victor does, but with the amount of clashes that Victor will be putting us through, it is possible that we'll get a peek at the top card of our deck while we still have time in our turn to break the gold and find a better card. But if nothing else, it means that Victor didn't get this gold. A lot of this matchup comes down to who wins clashes. And it isn't so much that Kayo really benefits from winning clashes, it is that Kayo benefits from Victor losing clashes. If Victor is not getting clash value, even if every clash is a tie, Kayo wins this game. The only way that Kayo loses this game is if Victor is winning clashes or landing clutch pummels. we are dealing with a Spinal Crush. We can think about what we have in hand, considering that Victor has been sitting on this arsenal for a while. I am interested in throwing Command and Conquer, and especially Command and Conquer with a bit of a power buff. The problem with Command and Conquer for 6 is that Victor can easily clean it up with 2 cards from hand or with 3 pieces of equipment. He could give us chest, arms, and shield to keep 5 cards if he had something like a pummel or an E-Strike CNC pummel. So what we will do instead is block with our Pack Hunt and our Bone Breaker. We only block 5, so we are going to get crushed, but we can just continue to sit on this Wild Ride. What we'll do on our turn is play Command and Conquer, pitching our Smash Instinct, and then discard Mighty Windup to make 2 mites. So the crush effect on the Spinal Crush doesn't matter because we don't need the action point. And we are getting our Might Generation from Mighty Windup and Kayo, and Command and Conquer attacks for 7. So we are forcing Victor to use multiple cards from hand and equipment, or multiple pieces of equipment and cards from hand. The other line we could take here is blocking with Pack Hunt, Bone Breaker, and Scab Skin. We cover 7, so we don't get crushed. And on our turn, we still take our Claw, discard Windup, play CNC line, but we also get to use our Spring Tunic. So we do work a Claw into that turn. That might be what I want to do here. The reason to save armor would be to block out an overpowered Colton Sun in the later game, but it might be worth it to just try and get value now. So I don't dislike blocking with the Scab Skins as well, just to work a Claw into this turn. Although it is now occurring to me why I didn't do that, because I want the Might to go onto Command and Conquer. If we take the Claw, discard Windup, play CNC line, then CNC still only attacks for 6. Maybe Victor blocked the Claw, put a card in front of it and took 1. But if he wants those 4 cards, then he can still just block with 3 pieces of equipment. So we do take a little more damage here, but we keep our Scab Skin block, and we get to throw CNC for 7, which is a lot more impactful than CNC for 6. Victor easily covers up the damage. I wouldn't expect him to need to overblock unless he really wanted to clash. I mean, that was not the point of that attack was not to really threaten him. We just wanted him to give us more resources, and particularly we wanted him to give us a card from hand. Here we have another Spinal Crush. We have a yellow Wild Ride still in our arsenal. Victor's still sitting on this card in his arsenal. What I would really like to do is keep Send Packing and a blue, but because Pulping doesn't block, we don't have a way to get it out of our hand. So I don't want to take the intellect penalty by blocking the Spinal Crush for 3 with Pack Hunt, then just pitching the blue to Send Packing. We still have this Pulping, and I kind of don't want it. So what I'm going to end up doing instead is blocking Spinal with Pack Hunt and Send Packing. We'll take 3, we don't get crushed, and on our turn, we can pitch our Wrecker Romp, play Pulping for 7 with Dominate Go Again, and then use our Tunic to get a Claw into the turn as well. What we'll do instead is discard our second Blood Rush Bellow off the top of our deck. Again, bad card, right? Doesn't attack. Is a miss for KO, obviously. So just really nice that we're getting these bad cards out of our deck early instead of being forced to play them. You know, that would be really bad if we had to play our Blood Rush Bellows. We've got an E-Strike for 7 coming in here. We could block this. Alternatively, we could just take 7 and then throw back pretty significant damage. We could play our Wild Ride from Arsenal, then follow up with a Pulping or a Swing Big, whatever card we end up keeping. If we draw a blue and discard one of these reds, we get to work a Claw into the turn as well. So just assuming that we don't draw and discard another non-attack off the top of our deck, I think taking 7 here is fine, and then we just follow up with a good amount of damage. Giving the runner instead, I think, is absolutely fine, considering that we are going to play... Oh, we're playing the Pulping. Okay. I think this is fine. We are hoping to keep that Swing Big. Instead, we have the Agile wind up. It works out for us because we see that we have a Beast Within on top of our deck, so we could play this Wild Ride from Arsenal, pitching our Agile wind up so that we are guaranteed to discard the Beast Within. Just touching really quickly on that runner block. I think that block makes a lot more sense if we're going to play the Wild Ride from Arsenal, because we are essentially getting 4 cards in our hand, so that we do have a chance of drawing a blue and then discarding a red, which is the ideal turn cycle. Playing the Pulping from hand to draw discard that Swing Big, it does make some sense. If we draw a blue, then we get to Claw Wild Ride. If we draw a yellow, then we get to still Claw Wild Ride with our Spring Tunic. It seems a little aggressive of me to really be trying to work a Wild Ride into this turn, because Wild Ride for 5 is really not how I want to end a turn. It's how I want to start a turn. So if I was going to make that block, I think I should have played the Wild Ride from Arsenal, and if I wanted to play the Pulping, I should not have blocked the E-Strike. I should have just taken 7 instead of putting the runner in front of it. So we do luck out, right? This Beast Within is going to work to our favor. We're going to get to either follow up with a Claw Arsenal. Ideally, what we draw off the Beast Within is good, either to play this turn or to stick into Arsenal. And Bare Fangs is great. But I think that block was... we were hedging our bets, but sort of trying to walk the middle line, but either line on the other side was fine. Either playing the more aggressive or the more defensive line. The question now is, are we attacking with Claw or are we attacking with Bare Fangs? Victor has blocked with a Command and Conquer and has played one already, so we know that he's only sitting on 1 more in the deck. I think that arsenaling this Bare Fangs is fine, and we still have a good amount of Go Again in our deck. So we can still look for that Wild Ride Pulping, Mandible Claw, 2 for 8 line that we get by arsenaling this Bare Fangs. Notably, we have played a Pulping and a Wild Ride in this turn. We have drawn 2 cards, so Victor could break Balance of Justice if he wanted to. Playing Bare Fangs does not stop him from drawing a card. Or would not enable him to draw a card. He can already do that. Titan's Fist for 4. It's not great. Do we want to block it? Probably. I think blocking with Pack Call here is fine, just to get a peek at the top card of our deck. See if it's something that we want to break gold for. Because outside of that, I mean, what are we doing with this hand? We'd have to roll Scabs, and I hate doing that. So we do see a Wild Ride on top of the deck. That's great news. We are going to break gold to draw that. Really hoping that we don't discard this Command and Conquer, and in fact we don't. So we have a really solid turn cycle coming up for us. That was a lucky top of the deck. Victor wisely giving us Civic Steps here, anticipating the either Mandible Claw that would already have Go Again, or this card from hand that we cannot afford to follow up. Victor giving us some solid tempo in order to protect this arsenal. We can anticipate that it's a few different things. We have yet to see a pummel. We have yet to see a golden sun. My money is on pummel. Pummel in arsenal is really strong for Victor because we can't flesh bag it away. So we need to anticipate that Victor would want to play the pummel and use our flesh bag to deny him resources. Victor not having tunic is really good for us because it means that he can't just pitch a blue, play a CNC, and float a resource to combine with his tunic to play pummel from arsenal. We will always have a chance to disrupt the pummel from arsenal if Victor is on tech plating. We have a Titan's Fist coming in for 4. Do we want to block it? We do have Bare Fangs in arsenal, so we could just keep this hand, lead with Wild Ride. We could pitch a blue to attack with Mandible Claw, then discard Wild Ride to make Agility Might, follow up with the E-Strike for 7. So we're either looking at a 4-card 10 damage line with Might and Agility, or we are looking at a potential 4-card, what is that, 6-18 with an arsenal. We're not going to block the Titan's Fist. We are just going to take 4 here. Or not. I think we should have just taken this damage and gone for the Wild Ride, Mandible Claw, Bare Fangs line. Instead, we are going to open with Wild Ride. I think that we should have broken gold here. Pitch our blue, break the gold, draw a blue. Go with Wild Ride floating 2 resources. Either we keep an E-Strike or we keep something else. In either case, we can then follow up with Bare Fangs from arsenal. Instead, we are in a weird position where we kind of don't have a good follow-up to this. We're either going to pitch an E-Strike to Mandible Claw or to Bare Fangs, and I think correctly choosing to Mandible Claw, but that turn could have been a lot stronger. And I don't think that blocking the Titan's Fist was really... That 3 damage with no on-hit, no disruptive effect, was really not where we wanted to give up one of our blues when we could have had such a strong turn. We're now staring down a Thunderquake that we kind of just can't block, right? Only one of our cards blocks. We have a hand of reds, so I'm kind of thinking we're just going to take 10 here and try to make something happen. We can use our tunic, pitch our runner, and play Wild Ride, hoping to find a blue. At the very least, we can then pitch 2 reds and play Bare Fangs from arsenal. If I had a blue in hand or more cards that blocked, I might be inclined to block that, but we really just don't have a good option for this turn if we aren't keeping 4 cards. Pitching Pulping here is correct. We are sending it to the bottom of our deck so that if this game does go to second cycle, then we have a play. We have something that can potentially end the game. So Trounce here going to do some clashing. We are going to see Victor does break his shield and bottoms our Swing Big, instead revealing a Cast Bones. So Victor wins the first half of the Trounce, but ties the second half of the Trounce. So Victor does not make gold. Victor does not get this Golden Sun. We also don't get anything, but like I said, we don't care. Kayo wins games where Victor isn't winning clashes, so we don't need to win. We just need him to not win. What this does show us is that we have a blue on top of our deck. So at this point, we... do we want to break gold? Can we use a blue somehow? And I believe the answer is no. I believe we are just going to play Runner. it's very possible that I caught something in the past that I did not catch here, and it is that we can Mandible Claw, play Bear Fangs by pitching Runner. This is a fine line. We're dealing a lot of damage, and we are getting a Bear Fangs out of our arsenal that has been there forever. But I would be interested to know what I saw in the past that made me think, yeah, this is the time to go for it. This is the time where we want to break that gold and clear out the arsenal. Feels like a very heads-up play, and I'm not sure why I felt the need to make it. Not that it was wrong, just that I don't know why I did it. We've got a Titan's Fist. We've got kind of a weird hand here. We could block the Titan's Fist with Runner, and our turn play Blood Rush Bellow by pitching E-Strike so that we're guaranteed to discard Beast Within. That puts 3 cards into our hand, but we aren't floating resource. We don't have a Tunic, and we don't have Agility. So what I want to do instead is block Titan's Fist with Beast Within, then E-Strike for 8, and Arsenal my Blood Rush Bellow. The reason to block with Beast Within instead of E-Strike or Runner, instead of Runner, is that I don't want a late game Beast Within to potentially lose me the game. I don't want to randomly take 1 point of damage that I can no longer afford to take because 6 or 7 turns have gone by, and now I just don't have the life to give. So we're going to Arsenal this Blood Rush. We want to wait until ideally we have Tunic. Hopefully we have an Agility as well. We're looking down to Disable for 9. This is the easiest 3-card block of my life. We are just going to play Cast Bones and hope to hit. There really isn't any other line we can take with that hand that is satisfying, because we really need this Blood Rush Bellow to be good. We only have 1 Blood Rush. I've been joking about how we can afford to discard them. We really can't. Blood Rush Bellow, like I said in the sideboard and matchup guide, is how we win this game. We need to go tall. And we've been doing a fine job of whittling down Victor's life total and destroying his equipment loadout, but we need to put a good Blood Rush together, and this is our last chance to do it. So to that effect, the block here is to use Flesh Bag. We block with Flesh Bag, Bone Breaker, and Scab Skins. We take 3 points of damage. We don't get crushed. And then we throw a 5-card Blood Rush with Agility and Tunic. You might think that there is a reason to block with the Scent Packing, keep our 2 blues, and hope that our Blood Rush doesn't discard our Bear Fangs. But thanks to our Clash, thanks to our Cast Bones, let's see how I don't show. We know that we believe we have a yellow and a Pack Hunt on top of our deck. And what that means is if we pitch a blue, we float 2 resources. We then draw into 3 more resources. If we block with our Send Packing and then discard our blue, we can only put 2 attacks together on this chain. We play our Bear Fangs with our 2 floating resources. We draw discard. Either we draw into we would need to draw into a blue so that we can Mandible Claw, Tunic, Pack Hunt. We would need a blue. Anything that isn't a blue, we only get to go 2 links wide, and we really need to go 3. So the correct block here is Flesh Bag for tempo, specifically so that we can keep 2 more resources in our hand, just in case things don't work out for us. And that's all because we know what is on top of our deck because of that Cast Bones. If we knew we had a blue on top of our deck instead of a yellow, then we could think about taking a different line here. But we just need to keep resources in the hand. We don't really care about playing the Scent Pack, and we'd like to, because Victor's had this arsenal forever, and if it's pummeled, we want to get rid of it. But what's more important is just that we can go 3 links wide. So we do, unfortunately, discard our Bear Fangs. We draw into a red and a yellow. But what's great about this hand now is we have exactly enough resources to Pack Hunt, Mandible Claw, Send Packing. The pack hunt is going to be a great opener with Go Again because we intimidate away one of Victor's cards. And at that point, our hand is really just damage, but the send packing is going to connect. Victor cannot protect this card in his arsenal, specifically because we have Blood Rush Bellow. We Mandible Claw here. If Victor had a Test of Strength or a Sink Below in hand, he could cover 6 on send packing, but Blood Rush is going to let us push damage over regardless of what this card is. And we see that it is a Sink Below. So we're pushing a ton of damage. Send packing is dealing 8 here. We do get this Golden Sun out of Victor's arsenal. Not that he had the gold to give it overpower, but he might have a gold at some point, and now he doesn't have a finisher. Looking at what we have here, the question is, are we discarding Agile Windup to make agility? And the answer is no, because we don't have the resources to swing big and massacre. We are 1 resource short of being able to pay for that turn. So what we'll do instead is pitch our Smash Instinct to Mandible Claw for 4. We will discard Agile Windup to make Might and Agility and give the Claw Go Again. Then use our Tunic to swing big for 8. And finally, we will Arsenal a Massacre, waiting for the next time we draw a Windup or a Pulping or a Wild Ride. This Massacre is going to be our finisher. Victor blocking with the Trounce. Victor does win the clashes, or at least he wins a clash with Golden Sun, so he makes a gold, draws the Golden Sun, but does not make Might and Vigor. So this is bad news for us, for sure. We really did not want Victor to have an extra card here because we wanted him to have to give us his entire hand to block the swing big, as opposed to just... as opposed to getting to keep an arsenal at the same time. We're at 12 life, we're effectively at 14 with our armor. Victor has no armor left, and we're arsenaling a Massacre. So we feel really good, we're in a great position here. Considering that we do have this Massacre in arsenal, we are fine to just try to end the game. We are going to open up with Wild Ride, pitching Riled Up, over pitching Cast Bones and Riled Up. Now there is something to be said for not over pitching because we have agility. If we miss on the Wild Ride and discard the Cast Bones, we still have agility. The consideration there is that our Mandible Claw doesn't have Go Again and Massacre is not turned on. So we're going to over pitch the Cast Bones just to give us a chance at hitting, and we discard a Beast Within. So we get to now Mandible Claw, Massacre, Arsenal, a Smash Instinct. Great draws, great discard. And Victor is not even going to let us do it. So close game for sure as far as the turn value, but we were in a pretty commanding position. We can see now Victor had at least 1 pummel in hand, potentially a pummel in arsenal. So I had said a few times, we haven't seen a pummel yet. Maybe my thought had been maybe he isn't playing them, but he just didn't find them in time. It's really why we won this game. Victor never saw a pummel and Victor never won a clash. And that is how Victor beats Kayo, is by disrupting with pummel or by winning clashes. And he didn't get to do either of those things. So even though we discarded 2 of our Blood Rushes on turns 1 and 5, really early in the game where they could have had an impact, our 3rd Blood Rush was an absolute banger. I believe it did 26 damage and sniped an arsenal. But at the same time, Victor wasn't doing the things he needed to do to beat us, and we were still managing to outvalue him turn to turn. So I hope you enjoyed this game. I hope you learned something. If so, be sure to assault and batter that like button. My comments are always open for any questions or feedback. Again, if you have not already done so, please consider a YouTube subscription. It's free, it helps me out, But no matter what you do, catch me back here tomorrow for more daily FaB gameplay. And until then, take care.